This is going to sound like a lie. If you didn't watch the full 90 minutes of that match at Anfield, this is going to sound like I am lying to you, speaking in hyperbole. But I swear to you, on Scout's honour, this is the truth. Liverpool won the game 2-0, but they deserved to win it 8-0. They could quite easily have won the game 8-0. That is the dominance. That is how superior they were. That is the ease with which they brushed Manchester City aside. And context is so key. Context here really is so important. Let's just remember what Liverpool have done just this week. They have already battered Real Madrid. Just 4 days ago, they had to welcome the European champions, the Spanish champions, to their home ground. And what did they do to them? They absolutely slapped them, embarrassed them, had Kylian Mbappe on his back, crying because of the brilliance of Conor Bradley. What happens just a few days later? They then have to welcome the champions of England. That's the champions of Spain, then followed by the champions of England. And what do? 4 days later, Real Madrid, Manchester City. Carlo Ancelotti, followed by Pep Guardiola. And what does Arne Slot do? Bashes them away. Absolutely no doubt, no drama, no jeopardy. It was in the bag before the referee blew the whistle. That is the brilliance of this Liverpool team. I swear to you, I've never seen anything like it. The dismantling of superb opposition time and time again in a very complex, well thought out, methodical way by Arne Slot. It is simply sensational. This Liverpool team are unreal. And that performance today was undoubtedly a delectable medley of footballing splendour. That is how good it was. It was heavenly stuff from Liverpool. Simply sublime. A transcendent performance from them today. They were exceptional. And never before have I seen such an easy dismantling of a Pep Guardiola side. And the word that I used there, I chose it very carefully. I said easy. And the reason that I used that word wasn't an accident. It is so easy. It was so easy for Arne Slot to get one over Pep Guardiola. It was so easy for Liverpool to totally dictate the tempo, to totally dominate the play, to totally ask all the questions, and to effectively bully Manchester City. Manchester City offered nothing. Zilch, nada, not a jot. They couldn't get out of their own half. Erling Haaland was basically not there. He should have bought a ticket. He deserved to pay the price of admission because he contributed to the result as much as any fan in the stadium. He did literally nothing. They had no consistent pressure. Kelleher, in the Liverpool goal, could quite easily in that first half have lit a cigar and had a drop of whiskey and relaxed, got the deck chair out. That is how easy it was. It really was simply a walk in the park. It was just unbelievable. And it was like that from the second that the game kicked off. I mean, Erling Haaland, if we use him as a case study to represent what Manchester City were meant to offer. You know, before the game was underway, I suggested that Erling Haaland needed to have the game of his life. If Manchester City were going to get anything out of the game, they were reliant upon their iconic mercurial man up front. A day for Erling Haaland to answer the critics. A day for Erling Haaland to find his goal-scoring boots again. Simply wasn't there. The geezer in the first half touched the ball 4 times. 4 passes. One of them was from kickoff. 3 passes. I tell you what, you know this contract situation that is going on at the moment with Liverpool? Mohamed Salah, Virgil van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Do you know the man who is most desperate for Virgil van Dijk to not get his contract renewed? Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland gets absolutely no change out of Virgil van Dijk. It's men against boys. I'm not saying it's easy for Van Dijk. It's certainly not. But he makes it look so easy. He's so assured, so composed, and basically brushes Erling Haaland aside. And there was nothing. There was just no threat, no potency from Liverpool. The shot from Man City, the shot that they managed to muster was one of the most poxy and pathetic shots that you've ever seen. Rico Lewis tried to do an outside of the boot thing, kind of got it wrong, scuffed it, basically kicked the floor. The ball p-rolled it out of play. That is all Manchester City offered. Now look, when we flag quite how bad Manchester City were, of course, what we are saying there, it's the other side of the coin. We're saying that Manchester City were terrible, but Liverpool were sensational. They were unplayable. And every single player playing for Liverpool did their job perfectly. How often can you say that about a team? How often can you say that about one side? Literally, to a man, everybody did their job perfectly. You know, there were levels. Some did it better than others. Some played better than others. Some were more standout than others. But to a man, they won their duel. In every single duel, and I think that football matches will often be won if you think about the individual duels that take place. The left back versus the right winger, the centre forward versus the centre half, whatever. I guarantee you this, it was 11-0. Every single Liverpool player won their individual duel. Now, look, the standout players, I think everybody will talk about the brilliance of Salah, and Van Dijk will undoubtedly get a lot of plaudits. But the player that I think that we simply have to talk about, it's Ryan Gravenberch. I don't say this lightly. I don't think that Liverpool win the game if it wasn't for Ryan Gravenberch. And I know that not everybody's going to be focusing his contribution, but I thought he was perfection. It was a midfield masterclass. He did everything that you want from a midfielder, particularly from a fan's perspective. Nasty, hungry, tackle after tackle after tackle after tackle, dominating, bullying, aggressive, relentless. He simply was everything to that Liverpool team. The whole tempo, the whole rhythm came from him. And the dismantling of the Manchester City rhythm also came from him. He will be my man of the match. But I feel like most people will talk about probably Mohamed Salah. Yet again, a goal and an assist. And that assist, I mean, we need to talk about it, don't we? It's one of those assists. Sometimes an assist can be so good that I actually think it deserves the goal. Giving it an assist isn't actually doing it justice because it created an open goal for Cody Gakpo. Cody Gakpo had no option but to score simply because of the brilliance of Mohamed Salah. Mohamed Salah's vision, his wherewithal, his ability to then play it. You know, when we say vision, yeah, he spotted the pass. On some level, that's the easy bit, isn't it? You know, seeing the pass, having the vision, but managing to execute a pass to that magnificent level of precision. It's basically unknown. It's basically unknown to be doing that time and time again and then to step up and score another goal. He is just unbelievable. And I think that sometimes you can be emotional when you talk about contracts and whatever else, but they simply have to give him one. Like, not at any cost, I do concede, but they simply have to give him one. You know, what's it going to cost them? 40 million quid a year? They're not going to buy, he wants 2 years, 40 million quid, 80 million. They're not going to find another player that can do even close to what he can do for 80 million pounds. He is just unbelievable. And, of course, we have to flag quite how good Virgil van Dijk was. No change at all was given. And do you know what? Luis Diaz playing as a centre-forward. Erling Haaland could learn a thing or two about how to play as a proper frontman from Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz playing in a position that was not the most natural to him, playing through the middle, leading the line. He deserves so much credit. I mean, I genuinely mean it. The best number 9 on the pitch was not Erling Haaland. It was Luis Diaz. Running the channels constantly, a constant thorn in the back of Nathan Ake. Just constantly there, constantly up for it. It was a sensational performance from him, and he won the penalty. So it actually translated into effect. Winning the penalty, I mean, it was a ridiculous moment from Ortega. But he was also sensational. And look, Manchester City are broken. They are completely and utterly broken. Because I sometimes think that with terrible form, with a blip, some people want to call it, with this glitch that they're going through, or in my opinion, this crisis that they're going through, with that, and as bad as that is, there is often one good thing about going through a situation like that. A situation like that presents opportunity, an opportunity to bounce back, an opportunity to prove the doubters wrong, an opportunity to make a statement, an opportunity to get everything back on track. So when you're in the situation that Manchester City are in, and then you end up facing Liverpool, most people would say, this is a disaster. This is not the fixture that you want. Of course you don't want to play Man City when you are... Of course you don't want to play Liverpool at Anfield when you're going through this situation that you're in. But I would counter that. I would say that on some level, playing Fulham at home is way more taxing. The fixture that you want is Liverpool away. You can answer the critics. You can make the statement. You can end all the conversation around what is going on at your club. And they simply didn't take it. They did not turn up at all. They had no answers. They asked no questions. And they were well and truly comprehensively beaten. And they were rattled. You could see at the very end there that Pep Guardiola was affected. You could see that he didn't really know what to do. You could see that he was kind of talking about former glories. And it felt very Mourinho. I remember Mourinho doing that when he was at Chelsea, kind of keep your chin up stuff. It's done when you know that you're coming to an end. It's done when you know that ultimately this season for them, the race is run. There is no way that they can win the league now. They are 11 points behind Liverpool. 11 points, which is, I mean, it's extraordinary, isn't it? How can they be 11 points behind after 13 games? it's gone so wrong. They are so vulnerable. You know, they created literally nothing. The one chance that they ended up creating when fell to Kevin De Bruyne towards the end of the game, obviously it was an easy save from Kelleher. Kelleher did brilliantly. And on him, actually, we need to talk about him. Because I think that the plan for Liverpool was to allow for Alisson to perhaps move on at some point and bring in Mamardashvili. Mamardashvili played brilliantly for the Georgian side at the Euros, didn't he? And they had Clement Longuet, I think, as their manager, the French guy. And he was saying how good Mamardashvili was. He probably was the jewel in the crown of that interesting Georgia side. The plan would have been Kelleher moves on, Mamardashvili becomes number 2, waiting to become the heir to the throne. Sometimes I think plans go out the window. And there is a world in which Kelleher has done so well. He has made himself indispensable to that Liverpool team. He has made himself indispensable to Arne Slot. And remember, Arne Slot wouldn't have been the man to bring in Mamardashvili. That would have been done before he arrived there. So Slot clearly has a relationship with Kelleher. The fans clearly love Kelleher. Do you hear all that? Ireland's number 1 and all that. So the other thing is, I've said the fans have a relationship. Virgil van Dijk does. You know, you cannot guarantee when a new keeper comes in that the standard maintains. You cannot guarantee that Mamardashvili comes in and that back 4 in front of him feels as secure. With Kelleher, why roll the dice? Why bother changing a winning formula? You know, you've got Alisson to come back, you know it works. You've got Kelleher to come in, you know it works. I know that a lot of plans are laid in advance at Liverpool, and I know that FSG, partly because of their nature, they're a sports group who, you know, do things very methodically. But I think there has to be some room for manoeuvre. And Kelleher, in my opinion, has made himself totally and utterly undroppable, totally and utterly indispensable to that Liverpool team. That is quite how good he has got it, quite how well he has done. And there is now no way that he can leave, in my opinion. But today, you know, we could talk about Kelleher, we could talk about Gravenberch. It actually belongs to Arne Slot, doesn't it? To land in this league in your debut year, following on what some would call the impossible job, following on from Jurgen Klopp, the man who is immortal in the Kop, taking on the reins off the back of everything that he did, to go head-to-head with the juggernaut that is Manchester City, and also have to consider how good Arsenal have been over recent years. And Slot has made it look easy. He has made it look so easy. He has managed to totally embrace everything that went before, totally embrace everything that Jurgen Klopp did. You know, bring in the love to his vision of football, of the heavy metal football. And it's this fusion of sort of the control that you would generally associate with Dutch sides. You know, the way that Ajax would look after the ball. That is what Liverpool do. But they also have this little sprinkle of stardust that is the hangover from Jurgen Klopp that Arne Slot allows to flourish. It's the perfect recipe, the perfect formula. And, I mean, I'm not breaking any news here, but I tell you this one, it's a guarantee. If you get the Rory Jennings seal of approval, it's a guarantee. Liverpool are going to win the league. Nobody is coming close to stopping them. They're basically uncatchable. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, would you do me a massive favour? Please click subscribe. It would be my honour to welcome you into this community. Give it a like as well. Really does help me out. And I look forward to seeing you in a bit. Congratulations, Scousers. You've gone ahead of Man United.